Hi, this is New Time on Silkway TV channel. We introduce you with the most visible news and important events that happen throughout this week in Kazakhstan and Central Asia. More details on politics, economy, social and cultural life with opinions from the most recognizable experts of Kazakhstan and world. I am Ainur Mangali and this is what you'll see today. A new round of international peace talks on Syria took place in Astana. What was the result of the negotiations process? Baljan Samigulina's report. Kazakhstan started with 3 medals at the Winter Youth Olympic Games and significant gold medal in ski jumping. Daurian Isagulov met with young Kazakh athletes and knew what are their next plans. Enhancing cultural dialogue, Italy and Kazakhstan will foster a partnership in culture and arts. Watch New Times interview with the most prominent Italian Kazakh opera singer Maria Mudryak. And let us start from the news from Akorda. The trade turnover between Kazakhstan and Bashkortostan for the incomplete year of 2023 exceeded $350 million. The countries will enhance cooperation in trade in economic, industrial, as well as cultural and humanitarian spheres, as was discussed at the meeting between Kazakh President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev and the head of Bashkortostan, Radi Habirov, earlier this week. President Tokayev noted the successful implementation of agreements, including the roadmap for cooperation, and emphasized that Kazakhstan is among the top 3 leading trade partners of Bashkortostan.
Your visit holds great significance as it gives an additional impetus to the comprehensive relations between Kazakhstan and Russia. We are putting in every effort to diversify our ties in the agro-industrial complex, industrial and humanitarian spheres.
Bashkortostan, being a part of Russian Federation, is an important trade partner of Kazakhstan. Mentioning that, Radi Habirov expressed his willingness to further strengthen regional cooperation.
We feel your attention to the development of relations between our countries. A large delegation has arrived in Kazakhstan today. Over these 2-3 years, we have significantly increased the volumes of trade and industrial cooperation. We've opened the Kazakhstan-Bashkortostan Forum, and I would like to mention that Kazakhstan is the main partner for Bashkortostan.
Astana hosted a new round of international negotiations regarding a military conflict in Syria with a focus on the recovery of the Arab Republic. Spanning 12 years since 2011, the ongoing civil war has prompted discussions on peace resolution within so-called Astana format. This meeting was the 21st consecutive round on Syria's crisis. New Times reporter Baljan Samigulina will provide details on the agenda and results of yet another meeting in Kazakh capital.
Now we are witnessing the 21st round of Astana peace talks on Syria. The delegations from Iran, Russia, Turkey, Syrian government and opposition are presented here along with observers from Iraq, Lebanon, Jordan and United Nations. The parties issued a joint statement comprising 20 resolutions announced by Kazakhstan's Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs Alibek Bakayev. The document provides details for the need to continue efforts for a peaceful resolution of the Syrian issue, increasing humanitarian aid and support to the Syrian refugees. The statement also emphasizes the adverse effects of the Palestinian-Israeli conflict escalation, affecting integrity of the whole Middle Eastern region.
Underline the importance of preventing the armed confrontation area from expanding and other states of the region from being dragged into the confrontation. Expressed deep concern over the humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza and stressed the need to end Israeli brutal onslaught against the Palestinians and send humanitarian aid to Gaza.
Ali Asghar Haji, the senior advisor for special political affairs to Iran's foreign minister, emphasized inclusively to Silkway TV channel that Iran will continue to be actively engaged in efforts to halt the crisis.
Till now, we have had 21 rounds of international meetings on Syria, and of each of these rounds, we have discussed unique and specific conditions of Syria. We do our best in order to find the solution for the Syrian crisis through political process and procedures to stop killing innocent Syrian people. Based on political, economic, security, terrorist and other different activities which are taking place in Syria, we will take an appropriate decision for plans at the upcoming meeting in the end of this year in Astana.
After 12 years, the Syrian civil war has pushed 80% of the population below the poverty line, reducing life expectancy by 20 years, according to the United Nations. The conflict sparked humanitarian crisis, claiming nearly 500,000 of lives and displacing more than 12 million people. Kazakhstan, for the first time in the world history, brought varying factions to the negotiations table, hosting 19 of 21 international meetings on Syria since January 2017. Expert Akmaral Batalova, who has been actively taking part in Astana peace talks since its start, highlighted the pivotal role of this process in establishing a long-awaited peace in the torn apart by the war Middle Eastern country.
I would like to emphasize that the most important result of the Astana process is the end of active military conflict and the prevention of the deaths of many people, because the agreement on creation of 4 de-escalation zones signed in May 2017 helped reduce the intensity of war activities and gave the way to the process of national reconciliation. The Astana platform should be considered, developed and used for further peace processes and for building a security architecture across the region.
In June 2023, Kazakhstan declared the conclusion of Astana process. However, the guarantor countries urged Kazakhstan to resume it, emphasizing its crucial role as an effective resolution mechanism. Once again, the discussions persisted, leading to an agreement for another meeting set to take place in the second half of this year in Astana. Балжан Самигуллин, Анатолий Бисембаев, Жолдузбек Ермуханов, Ильяс Тулькыбай, New Times, Silkway TV Channel, Astana.
The president of Kyrgyzstan, Sadir Japarov, was a news headliner this week talking about water issues in Central Asia. President Japarov, in an interview to Kyrgyz news agency, noted that Kyrgyzstan is ready to further share water with its neighbors. Kyrgyzstan, let me remind you, is the only country in Central Asia with water resources being fully formed on its territory. More details on these and other interesting news topics from Central Asia are in the review of my colleague, political observer Ozhet Shigirbayev. Good evening, Ozhet. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Ainur. I'm ready to share my top 3 news topics from Central Asia this week, just in a moment. According to the Statistics Agency of Uzbekistan, today Uzbekistan has trade relations with around 198 countries. In 2023, Uzbekistan's foreign trade turnover amounted to 62.6 billion of USD, an increase by 23.9% compared to the same period of the last year. Export amounted to 24.4 billion of USD and imports to 38.1 billion of USD. China remains the country's main trading partner, with trade turnover for 13.7 billion of USD. Russia is in the second place, 9.88 billion of USD, and Kazakhstan closes the top 3 with 4.4 billion of USD. In the structure of mutual trade turnover, Uzbekistan exported to Kazakhstan goods was 1.3 billion of USD and imports goods for amount of about 3 billion of USD. Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Kazakhstan, Mr. Murat Nurtlev, held an official visit to the Republic of Tajikistan. The head of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Kazakhstan was met at the Dushanbe International Airport by the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of Tajikistan, Mr. Farukh Sharizada, and other officials. According to the program visit, Mr. Nurtlev held negotiations with the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Tajikistan, Sirajuddin Mukhridin, and a meeting with the representatives of the leading Tajik enterprises and companies. The head of the Foreign Ministry of Kazakhstan also took part in the wreath-laying ceremony at the monument to Ismaili Samani on Dushanbe Square and the monument to Kazakh peacekeepers in Tajikistan in the park named after Ferdowsi. As part of the visit, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Nurtlev, also was received by the President of Tajikistan, Mr. Emomali Rahmon. President of the Kyrgyz Republic, Mr. Sadir Japarov, during his interview to Kabar Agency, noted that on his instructions, the new daily and 10-day regulation basins will be built throughout the country, as well as the existing ones would be cleaned, which will primarily benefit the downstream neighboring countries as disputes arise regarding flowing water during the irrigation season. It will help to solve the shortage of irrigation water and provide water to neighboring countries. That's all from my part for today, Ainur. Giving floor back to you.
Thanks. That was political observer Ozhet Shagirbayev with his weekly review on key news topics from Central Asia. Kazakh athletes have won 1 gold and 2 bronze medals at the Winter Youth Olympic Games in Korea. Almost 2,000 young athletes from 70 countries gathered in Gangwon province these days. Kazakhs became the best at sports such as short track, speed skating, ski jumping and hockey. More details on those who paved the way to the adult Olympic Games you will find in our next report.
Ilya Mizernych, a 16-year-old athlete, had the Kazakh national anthem proudly playing in his honor in South Korea. He emerged as the top performer in the ski jumping competition at Gangwon 2024, making history. This is Kazakhstan's first gold at the Winter Youth Olympic Games ever. Despite tough competition from leading nations in the sport, including Austria, Poland, Japan and others, Mizernych clinched the victory. The athlete admits he didn't anticipate this outcome, but had set ambitious goals for himself.
If you want to be a champion, discipline is key. My coach always told me it's not just about the outcome, but about persistent hard work and discipline. I always listened to him and it all paid off. I aimed to make it to the top 3, but in the end I emerged as a winner. Now I want to fulfill my long-time dream and gift my mom and grandma a big house.
Another pride of Kazakh sport, 14-year-old Polina Amilchuk. The young athlete secured a bronze medal at the Youth Olympics in short track competitions over a distance of 1,000 meters. In the same way as Ilya, the short track skater was warmly welcomed by her family and friends at the Astana's airport. The athlete pledged not to rest on her laurels. Her top goal now is the Winter Olympics in Italy in 2026.
The only thing that I can say is that I have goals for the Adult Olympics. It's a great responsibility, but now I'm so happy and overwhelmed. The most exciting moment was when I raised the flag. For me, it's a tremendous pride.
The youth hockey team of Kazakhstan contributed the 3rd medal to the overall team score. In a tense match for the bronze medal, the hockey players secured a victory over the Austrian team with a score of 6-5. This is the first medal ever won by Kazakh hockey players at the Olympic Games. The Winter Games in Gangwon will continue until February 2. Kazakh athletes will be competing for medals in biathlon, curling and speed skating. Dorian Sagulov, New Time.
Meanwhile, first ever Italian Kazakh Cultural Center for Creative Industry will be opened this year in Kazakhstan. Astana and Rome will collaborate even more closely in culture, education and arts. Earlier in 2023, first Italian Cultural Institute of Central Asia opened in Almaty, which primary mission is to popularize the Italian language and culture, attracting attention to new creative talent. Let me remind you that official visit of the President of Kazakhstan, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, to Italy took place last week. During the negotiations, leaders of 2 countries set a new impetus to a bilateral partnership. We decided to dig into a topic of cultural dialogue that is being actively promoted between countries. To know more details about it, we now connect via Zoom with the most prominent Italian Kazakh opera singer, Maria Mudrak. Maria, thank you for joining us today. Such an honor for us.
Thank you.
We know that you are a cultural ambassador between Kazakhstan and Italy. How, in your opinion, is the cultural dialogue between our countries developing?
Thank you. Культурный диалог между нашими странами.
The cultural dialogue between our countries is reaching a high level, and there are more events aimed at strengthening culture between our countries. Student exchanges at universities have intensified, and there have been many performances by Italian artists of different genres in Kazakhstan. Also, Kazakh films participate in Italian festivals, film festivals, and the ballet theater is on tour.
And what cultural projects could be interesting to realize and to implement in Kazakhstan?
Вы знаете, Италия является ведущей страной.
Italy is a leading country for cultural heritage in the world that affects the world as a whole. And I believe that it is very important from early childhood to instill love of art in children. And studying from primary school, from grade 4 in the Italian school, we had the subject art history, where we got acquainted with the main monuments of the mankind architecture, with great artists. We had to know cinema, dance, great composers of opera and performers, and more. Most recently, an official visit of the Kazakh delegation to Italy has taken place, and our Minister of Culture and Information met with cultural figures of Kazakhstan in Italy, and I took this opportunity to tell her about this. Aida Galivna said that for this it is necessary to prepare a very solid platform, such as textbooks, teachers, and interactive presentations. And she responded enthusiastically to this proposal, and I really hope that someday in the future our children will know more about art history than we do.
Yes, and speaking about opera and training in this field, so what opportunities are now available to Kazakh artists? Can we talk about expanding opportunities?
Я знаю, что есть несколько ребят, обучающихся
I know that there are several young people studying at the conservatories in Italy, and I also know that there have been and are ongoing exchanges between the Astana Opera and a couple of Italian theaters, internships for our artists, and teachers are being invited to Astana as well. And in the opera art, Italy is the world selection platform. In this area, everything depends on the level of talent in this field.
Yes, and the Italian Institute of Culture has already been opened in Kazakhstan, and this year it is planned to open the first Kazakh-Italian Center of Creative Industry. How do you think such platforms can help to promote dialogue as well as cultural and creative potential of our countries?
Я очень рада, что появилось такое важное место.
I'm very glad that such an important place as the Italian Kazakh Center for Creative Industry will appear, where people will find a lot of useful things for themselves, for personal and cultural development between our countries, Kazakhstan and Italy.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Maria, for your time and your answers. Maria Mudrak, a world-known opera singer, joined us today from Italy. Stay with us and you will know what Armen Duplantis, 12-time world record holder, is going to do in Kazakhstan and what Kazakh tourist authorities plan in the run-up to the official start of a year of Kazakh tourism in China. The legendary Swedish pole vaulter Armen Duplantis has arrived to Kazakh capital to take part in the upcoming tournament, which he said will be a crucial part of his personal preparation for the Olympic Games in Paris. The Olympic champion and 12-time world record holder Duplantis will compete at Astana Indoor Meet. This competition is part of the famous World Indoor Tour Gold Series, featuring the brightest stars in athletics. Astana will host accomplished athletes from 45 countries. According to the organizers, Kazakhstan has the honor of being the first Central Asian country to host this tournament.
Mentally, it's a very important competition for me, especially since it's the first competition of the year, and so you want to start off on the right foot. And so, yeah, it is a Olympic year, which is the most important year as a track and field athlete. So, yeah, I mean, you want to start off the Olympic campaign as well as you can and try to start off well. So, very, very cool to try out new facilities and try out new places. And you know, when you start jumping at the same places over and over again, maybe it can get a little bit stale at some time. So it's nice to incorporate some new facilities into the mix, which gets some different type of juices flowing. So I think that's going to also be super nice for me.
Let us move on. A new level of cooperation with the European Union. Kaspi KZ listed on NASDAQ and the new round of talks on Syria under the Astana process format. Kazinform international news agency collected all the important press coverage about Kazakhstan this week. Let's have a look on it. Brussels-based Euroactiv published an opinion piece by Kazakh political expert Aydos Sarim on January 18th. He analyzes the recently adopted European Parliament resolution on Central Asia. The resolution, a planned document of the European Parliament, reflects the assessment of members of the European Parliament of implementing the new EU strategy for Central Asia. To this end, the legislators have repeatedly visited Kazakhstan and other countries in the region. The opinions of official representatives and the civil sector in Central Asia were taken into account while drafting the document, writes Sarim. According to him, the resolution differs in tone compared to similar documents from past years. Bloomberg published an article on January 19th about the listing of Kaspi.kz, Kazakhstan's fintech firm, on Nasdaq, and $1 billion that the company raised in an upsized initial public offering. The investors sold 11.3 million American depository shares of Kaspi.kz for $92 apiece, according to a statement Friday confirming an earlier report by Bloomberg News. The price is a 5.3% discount from the closing level on Thursday of Kaspi.kz's London-traded global depository receipts, writes Bloomberg. Kaspi.kz is listed on both the Kazakhstan Stock Exchange and the Astana International Exchange. The company disclosed a net income of $1.27 billion derived from a total revenue of $2.83 billion for the 9 months period ending on September 30. Bloomberg writes that Kaspi.kz has a market value of about $18 billion. Guardian reported on January 23 about a 7.0 magnitude earthquake that struck along the China-Kyrgyzstan border, which caused powerful and long-lasting tremors in Kazakhstan's largest city, Almaty. Tremors were felt as far away as the neighboring countries, Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan. In the Kazakhstan city of Almaty, people left their homes to seek refuge in the street after the quake caused walls to shake and furniture to shift, wrote The Guardian. Strong tremors were also felt in the Indian capital, New Delhi. Turkey's Anadolu agency published an article on January 24 about a new round of talks on the Syrian settlement under the Astana process. The participants of the Astana format, which includes Iran, Russia, Syria, Turkey, and the UN, gathered for their 21st meeting to discuss the impact of the situation in Gaza on Syria in the wake of fresh attacks by Israel. Representatives of Jordan, Iraq, and Lebanon, the Office of the UN High Commissioner for Refugees, and the International Committee of the Red Cross are expected to participate as observers, wrote the agency. The new meeting was held in accordance with the collective appeal of the guarantor countries of the formats. That's it for the press review this week. We will continue following the most interesting and important media coverage on Kazakhstan and this region. Kazakh Kobyz player Shahnaze Ilyasova showcased the exceptionally expressive timbre of the ancient national instrument at the Golden Time Talent Music Contest. For her participation in the international online competition, the talented musician from the Karaganda region submitted recordings of 3 performances, including a concert for the Prima Kobyz with Arman Jaim's orchestra, Montex and Capuletis by Sergei Prokofiev, and The One Summer's Day by Joe Hisaishi. Ilyasova's skill was highly praised by both the jury and the audience, ultimately leading her to win the first place. Having heard Ilyasova's original works, the jury also encouraged her to showcase her compositional talent. However, she hesitated for a long time before summoning the courage to apply for the contest.
Отправляю 3 видеоролика в Golden Time Talent.
I sent 3 videos to Golden Time Talent. They found my works on Instagram, followed my account and suggested that I could also participate in the composition category. But I declined the offer because my primary focus was on mastering the technique of playing the kobyz. This instrument resembles a violin. I participated in the string instruments category, and the jury evaluated me as a violinist.
This is not Ilyasova's first competition. She has previously participated in various national and international contests. She dreams of gaining recognition from a global audience. Winning in Golden Time Talent will be a stepping stone towards realizing this dream. This summer, Ilyasova will represent Kazakhstan at the Golden Time Talent Festival in the United Kingdom.
Еще принять участие в конкурсах Italy, Испании.
I also plan to take part in competitions in Italy and Spain now that I understand the processes, how everything is organized and assessed. The jury members are high-level professionals and there are many universities I would like to enter.
Kazakhstan has begun its preparations for the Year of Tourism in China. A concept and event plan encompassing over 25 various events have already been developed. These include large-scale fairs and exhibitions. A grand opening is scheduled for the end of March in Beijing.
Это также включает тематические недели от, например, экологического, либо познавательного культурного туризма до космического туризма.
Thematic weeks dedicated to ecotourism, educational, cultural or space tourism are also in the plans. That is, all regions are participating. Special focus will be dedicated to the Silk Road Week, featuring the showcasing of ancient cities from Xi'an to Turkestan. These are the directions we have worked on jointly with the regional authorities. Each region or group of regions are set to present a specific tourism product for Chinese citizens.
Business events will also take place throughout the year. Domestic tour companies will have the opportunity to establish contacts with their Chinese counterparts at B2B meetings and presentations. According to statistical data, Kazakhstan welcomed over 200,000 Chinese tourists in the first 9 months of 2023. The tourist flow is expected to increase due to the introduction of a visa-free regime and the planned increase in the number of direct flights. It is worth noting that the closing of the Year of Kazakhstan's tourism is planned to take place in December in Almaty. That's it for today. All the main news about Kazakhstan and Central Asia you can find here. More special projects about our country you can also watch on Silkway TV channel. So stay tuned and see you next week.